film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis, from a basement on South Broadway, the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Indie film still sucks. We're still here.
Still here. They got some ambiance tonight, though.
We do.
Nice.
We have another special guest, Trevor Edward Juenger.
Oh, yeah, with the middle name, too. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming, Trevor.
Thank you.
Joining. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
I've watched all of the shows.
Well, before we get into that, I got to ask you
Okay.
one famous question. What's your suck, Trevor?
So I'm going to go with filmmaker attitudes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's weird. It's like every video that I watch is all about like the business. And you guys talk about it too, and I understand. But man, for me, it's like art, and I want it to be about art. And to hear everyone just talk about like how they value money and like that's the way to measure success. I just rubs me the wrong way.
I get that. That's where I started.
Yeah.
I said, fuck money. I just want to make art, want to make films.
Yeah. That's where I ended.
It's got to be a balance, right? This was an earlier podcast I talked about when I was first getting into legal video, and my ex-sister-in-law, she said, "Oh, that's so great. You're doing your passion. You're doing what you love." And I was like, no, shooting legal video is not a passion. It's a way to pay the bills. If I completely had it my way, I would only make the movies that I want to make. And hey, if we go down in flames, I'm only going to make the movies I want to make. So I guess it doesn't really matter. But we're also trying to position ourselves by making films we think that will sell. But at the same time, I got to make something that I believe in.
Yeah, there is that balance, right? Like, you want to be able to sustain yourself, and you want to be able to make more films, right? Like, so you need to make money so that you can pay for more movies. But like that being the complete standard, and the idea that like, man, I see so many videos where people go, "Oh yeah, unless you're making an art film," and they roll their eyes. Like, you'll never make money with an art film, and it's just like a complete disregard of the art form. Right. And like that's all I hear all the time. Every social media post is like, how do I get distributed? How do I make money on this? And it's never about like, how do I get better at making movies? Because like that matters, right? Like,
well, we talk a lot about getting, and that's great. I'm glad you added getting better to that, because you're honing your craft.
Yeah.
And your art. If you can balance both, then that's the best of both worlds.
Sure.
And I think if independent filmmakers could understand that yes, you can make what you want. As you get better, you can make maybe something else, or, you have choices of making, different things. But money does give you options.
I think that the misconception is like, you have to make your films like a standard formula, right? Like, that's what everybody like tries to do. You have to make it exactly like this. And like the criticisms of movies now are like, the new Star Wars wasn't formula enough, right? Yeah. Like, it's really bizarre. And like, we have an opportunity as independent filmmakers to make something different, right? Like, we can actually go against the grain. We can do things that are seen as the wrong way to do things. We can challenge the form. We have the opportunity to do that sort of thing. And we're not going to make money anyway. If we tried to make Spider-Man with $100,000, it's not going to be any good. So why not make something that no one's ever seen before, right?
No, I like it. That's true.
Yeah, I agree. So, film professor, correct?
I teach at Webster, and I teach at Southwestern Illinois College.
Southwestern Illinois. So how does that fit in? You probably see a lot of kids come through, and all varieties of kids.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the post-COVID kids, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to talk to them anymore. It's so bizarre. Yeah, they like are into all sorts of new stuff, and like there's new social media platforms and stuff. People make money on TikTok and stuff now, so they're like, I want to get really good at video so I can do TikToks, and I'm like, I don't do that.
That's not art money.
Yeah, exactly. well, there's art too. TikTok, sure, and you can make artistic TikToks. I'm sure, but like it's just a different world from what I've grown up in and stuff. I don't know. They're from all sorts of different backgrounds, and some of them are artists and some of them are very like business savvy type people, and I try to like direct my message as best as I can there, but I think my bias always shows that I'm an artist.
But you're teaching the fundamentals of film.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, for sure.
Still right.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Still a
That
solid foundation.
I think so. I think you know, as soon as people learn like don't cross the line and stuff, their stuff gets better,
Gotcha.
right? Keep the light directed in the same direction. You know, like don't flip your light around and stuff. Have good sound. All these things that are incredibly fundamental are really important, regardless of, you know, if you're making an art film or if you're making some kind of commercial thing.
Why do you think? I mean, you're a teacher, an instructor.
Yes.
Why do you think people get into filmmaking?
Everyone who sticks with this has something wrong with them, right?
Yeah.
Like I have like clinical depression and stuff. And I'm on the drugs and stuff, and I think almost everybody has something. And quite unfortunately, I think a lot of filmmakers have like narcissistic personality disorder, and
Probably.
we're like, I don't like those people, you know. So there are certain filmmakers I like and certain ones that I don't like. Yeah, I think everybody's got something wrong with them. Just stick with this. Like it's a really bizarre thing to stick with. It's an expensive art. Right?
It is.
It's a collaborative art, and it's forced collaboration. So you need a bunch of people, and you need a bunch of people to come in and do stuff on time, and that's hard to do.
That's very hard to do.
So like I've been doing photography lately, and man, it's just so much easier. It's like just me and a person, you know. And
Is that some stuff I saw you put out on Facebook?
Yeah. So on Facebook and Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, what's the collective reason behind some of those? Is there a general theme behind the entire 365? Right.
Oh yeah. So it started when I started taking antidepressants, and I wanted to see like where my art would go.
All right.
You know, so I just challenged myself to do you know, an art piece every single day.
That's where
and sometimes it's
comes from. Okay.
All right. So like let's see how we do over the course of a year. And sometimes it sucks, but you know, it's like
I wouldn't
you
say
just got to
it
get
sucks.
something
some of them,
done in a day, you know. So sometimes they're simple, right? And it's just like a doodle or something like that. And other times it's like I'm gonna get some people out into the studio and do some photography and stuff. And that I kind of like a lot more.
Are you shooting them ahead of time or on that day?
I shoot and edit all on the same day.
Same day. That's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it's really easy. It's great. It's so much more freeing than filmmaking, and I love filmmaking. Right, I'm a filmmaker first and foremost. But to not have to plan, you know, you just go and you shoot the thing, and then you edit it, and it's done. And like, if it sucks, who cares? It only took a day, right? So like, it's liberating to kind of do that.
So I got a question. So you're talking about what you're doing in the present. I'm curious on how you actually got started and what prompted you to just pick up a camera or pick up a script.
I don't even remember. Like I've been doing this for so long. I remember my parents had like a VHS camcorder at home, and I did like claymation animations and stuff by pressing record and stop on a You're not supposed to do that, right? You have like a Super 8 or an 8mm camera. You can do stop motion properly, but I did it with a VHS camcorder. So,
I did the same thing with the VHS camcorder, except I was, 19 or something.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I guess I'm a little bit younger than you.
Yeah, but so that progresses into shorts?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think like that animation and stuff I would show in school. Like, they let me like put it on the like CRT TV, and like the kids watched it and stuff. And I think I liked that. You know, that's my first exposure to like doing art that was a little bit different than, you know, art class. You draw a tree and you put it out in the hallway and stuff, and people seemed to like it. And then my first film was in 2005 that I actually completed. I showed that in a theater, and we got all the parents and stuff to come in. It was, I think we had probably over 100 people there. It was my senior year of high school. And it's like got a bunch of like rape scenes and stuff in it, and yeah, all the parents were just disgusted and like offended. They had no idea what they were walking into. Was that pre-approval
days of getting it past like the school? Like
I mean, like I didn't need We actually did put it on the school's like hard drives and stuff. Like they had a server.
Yeah, but
and then we shared
nowadays you
it
can
that way.
run everything by everybody
Yeah,
before
yeah,
it gets
yeah.
really.
I got suspended for an animation too at school. Like I had like a guy that goes through a wood chipper and blood sprays out and stuff. And they
So
like
now we understand your
suspended me for-
future or your
But
future work.
getting a reaction out of people
Yeah.
is still pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Whether they absolutely hate it or absolutely love it, it's still cool to get that reaction.
Oh yeah, I'd much prefer someone to absolutely hate it than absolutely love it.
You prefer them to
yeah,
hate it than to love it?
Well, I mean, like I don't. It feels like if there's a universal love for something, it's not good to me.
There's not a universal love for anything.
Well, it does seem like that now. But I like the hate and love, but I think the neutral that's the worst. That's the worst.
that is absolutely
Right.
worst.
No, you want a definite reaction from somebody.
Actually, the worst is, have you gotten this? I'm sure you've gotten this. It looks like a real movie.
Oh my God!
Oh, you did so good.
Nobody's
It
ever said
looks
that,
just
yeah.
like a
Yeah.
real
You
movie.
talk a lot about that, Chris.
Every screening I've ever had, and people don't get it, and you just kind of like smile, yeah, thanks, and shake their hand.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm glad I spent 3 years and pints of blood and ripped out my hair for it to look like a real movie. Thank you. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've heard so many times, and I'm sure you've heard this, if anyone you don't know finds out you make movies. Oh, you make movies? Is it porn?
Oh no, I haven't gotten that too often.
Oh, man,
I get the porn thing because I often shoot in like motels and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh yeah, what kind of movie is it?"
Oh yeah.
And they're always kind of polite about it and stuff. But like, the motels that we can afford are probably like, well, we lifted up a mattress one time and it's like syringes underneath it and stuff,
man.
and syringes and baby oil, and I'm like, what?
So at this point, how many feature films have you made?
3, but one of them doesn't count because it's so bad.
So wait, go. I got your filmography.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, so I made one in 2008, I think.
Yeah, but that was out of high school, right?
Yeah.
You're just
And
in
you
high
learned
school
something
there.
from it, I'm
And you
sure.
learned, right? Because we
I
was
learned
talking.
I learned that I'm terrible at this.
Well, all right. Let's go back to that because we
Okay,
love
sure.
to talk about
Sure,
the bad
yeah.
because we talk about the good, the bad, and the in between. And we've got plenty of bad shit. Trust me. Your first feature.
Yeah.
How much experience did you have when you went into that?
Almost none. So I had done my short film, and it's a fairly long short film. It's about 30 minutes long. And like how we shot that was like we shot it all chronologically, and then we like moved to the next shot and stuff. We didn't change angles very much. We didn't do anything, right?
Yeah.
Like all just given light, whatever's there and stuff. And then I learned Adobe Premiere making that film. And then I was like, I can make a feature film.
Yeah.
And it was my first time working with like actors and stuff. After that, I was like, I hate actors.
Yeah,
I
I
really
know
hate
that.
actors.
I know that feeling.
But now I love actors and I hate filmmakers. So
They're all terrible, really.
The whole.
I don't know. I think that I was just so inexperienced. And then when like actors knew what they were doing and stuff, they wanted something from me that I couldn't give them. I couldn't give them the right kind of direction. I couldn't give them the right kind of notes. So they didn't know what they were doing, right? So if you've acted before, yeah.
A little bit, but I'm not.
Right.
I don't consider myself an actor.
Have you like acted for somebody else?
Yes.
It's a different experience, right?
It is.
And if they are not a good director, you are just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Where do you want me to look? What do you want me to do? And then they're just like, do the lights and stuff. And you're just
There's
like left.
there's the
left
craft
in
of
the
acting,
fucking
and then there's the vision
dark.
of the director, the writer, that right. That's what
Yeah.
actors thriving for is to take your vision and put it through their medium to put it out. Right?
Yeah, there's like 2 kinds of directors, they say. There's the ones that stay behind the camera and stuff, and then the ones that come out in front of the camera and actually work with the actors and stuff. And like previously, I was the guy behind the camera, and I was so afraid to step forward, right? Like, because I don't know what any of this is like. I don't know what I should be telling you, and I don't know how to communicate with you. I don't know what to say to get what I want. Instead, I'll just do all this stuff, and I'll hope that you can do it because you're the actor, right? But actors don't like that.
No, and it is intimidating.
Yeah.
Did you go to film school? I know you teach.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
So at first I went to SIUE and I dropped out there. And I went there initially for mass communications because I wanted to make films, right? And like that was the closest thing. And I had one class, entire first 8 weeks of a 16-week course was wrapping cables, right? Learn how to wrap cables right. Because when you step on set, that's what you're going to be doing. That's how you can make money in this business. You need to know how to wrap those cables.
It's a good skill to have. It's a
Dude,
good
fuck
skill.
this. This sucks. And I had a theater class because it was like an elective, and I was like, this is incredible. I love this. So I just switched over to like this kind of custom major for me where I like did all my film studies stuff. And then I took a bunch of theater courses and stuff, and I learned a bunch of things about like Samuel Beckett.
My guy,
Right?
Waiting for Godot.
Yeah.
Did it in high school.
Incredible.
Say he's a theater guy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Waiting for Godot is incredible.
Yeah.
And all of his stuff. Play is really
Yes.
good. Not I love Not I. And it's just like, whoa,
Yeah,
like
he's
this
deep,
is
right?
this is so different and so unique. And then I was like, I want to make movies like this. I want to challenge things because I always wanted to make like surreal movies. I like David Lynch and stuff, but like anytime you make weird movies, they're like, it's just like David Lynch, right? and then you're like, well, I want to do something that's not just a David Lynch clone. But yeah, I eventually went to Webster. I showed like a medium length film. It was like 45 minutes long to my professor at SIUE, and he was like, you should go to school. And I was like, all right. And then I didn't go back there. Instead, I went to Webster. And then I never left. Got my graduate degree there and just kept teaching there. So,
That's
here I
nice.
am.
You brought up a good point a minute ago.
Yeah.
When you said your first class you took, you were learning how to wrap cable.
Yeah.
There's a school of thought, which I completely do not believe in, that in order to become a film director, first you have to be a PA, then a grip, then this and that. I've always been of the opinion, if you want to be a film director, you need to fucking direct films. And that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And learning how to do all the other stuff. It's great to have that knowledge, but I did not want to spend my career working as a grip. I did not want to spend my career working up to be an AD.
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted to do, and that was direct films.
Yep.
And I think that's the only real path, is just start directing films.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I get that question from students a lot. Like, what do you start with to get your way to a director? And I don't think there's a clear path. Wrapping cables and stuff, what are you going to be, a key grip? Probably?
Yeah.
Like that's
And there's
your...
nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's...
No, I think, to your point, I agree with you, Chris, mostly, but I think it's not a bad idea for anybody to get on set to do anything to see how anything's done.
Oh, no.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I've been acting for a long time, and I started out as an extra, but I sure as fuck didn't want to be an extra.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of friends who they're extras in Hollywood movies, and they're posting shit that they're on this movie set, and they're doing the thing, but that's not quite what I wanted to do. And so to get on set, I had to learn what actors really needed to do to get bigger.
I mean, I think it's important to understand what each orchestra piece does and understand that and how the collaboration of the orchestra is put together, if I can use that as a metaphor. But you don't necessarily need to be able to play each instrument in order to be collective as a whole. I would think it might be important to be an assistant director in order to understand more about the directing role as a whole. But I don't necessarily think you need
Again,
it.
I disagree with that.
I think AD transfers to like producer pretty well.
It does.
Okay, is that right? I just
'Cause,
became
I mean,
a
you
producer.
gotta,
I'm
like-
an actor as well. So
right.
I just
You got all that scheduling and stuff as an AD, and then like a producer, you have to like
No, but now that I said that, I
organize
was
and do all
watching
that
what our
stuff.
first AD did on Red Knight, and you're right, 100%.
The key component to an independent director, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong or right, is you just have to have an incredible will to force everything through. Because that's really how it is.
That's a great visual,
And
Greg.
I don't mean force people to do what you want to do.
No,
but
no,
just
that's not what you
force
said
the
either.
process from beginning to end.
Yes.
I think that you have to have like a really thorough knowledge of the material. I think it really helps if you're a writer.
does.
I think the two things that would help are if you're a writer and also if you're an editor, like you know what you need to get to put an edit together, you know, so you know what you need, what you can sacrifice in terms of coverage to get through your day and stuff. I don't know, adaptability I think is really important, right? Like you were talking a few podcasts ago, I don't know how many ago it was, about like someone didn't show up and you had to like rewrite on the fly and stuff, right? Like that's something that's fairly common, and if you're really good at it though, like you can pull something off that's great. Like I'm like a crazy person, and I believe in like the film gods, right? Like I'm agnostic. I don't like, I'm not religious or anything, but on set I'm religious. Yeah. Right? Like there's all this chaos, and like you can't control everything.
No.
And stuff just kind of fucking happens, right? But like you have to think that like there's some kind of fates pulling the strings, and like if you were going to do this other thing and it doesn't work out, that's because that other thing was going to suck, right? Like you have an opportunity now to do something else that will supplant that and be better. So it's a challenge from the gods, right? Like, wait a second, this thing was going to suck. You need to come up with something better very quickly.
All right, so you got through your first feature film.
Yeah.
And how'd you feel after you were done with that?
Terrible.
Felt terrible.
I feel terrible about all my films.
So what was the name of the
I know
first
that
one?
feeling.
What was the name of the first one?
Hermetica. It's a bad title.
Okay.
It's a bad title. It's something that like I try to tell people like that are like new filmmakers and stuff, like don't pick something that like has no connotative meaning for anybody, right? Like Hermetica, what does that mean to you? Nothing. Like it doesn't mean anything to anybody, right? So like simple titles, things that like coyote, right? Simple. You know what a coyote is.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have an image in your head of what this is going to be or what this means or anything, right? And it might be different than what I want you to, but you have something. And if you pick some fucking word that nobody knows, yeah, let's not talk about that one anymore. Can we
can move on. This is
Well, your second feature is Coyote.
You brought the candles.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll put one out for Hermetica, right?
Is that how we're working this?
I don't know. I was a freshman or sophomore, I guess, like transfer student at Webster, and I was like, I'm doing a fucking feature. Fuck this. So I wrote this thing after that longer film, that 45-minute long film. Got into Webster, and like I didn't want to just do like short films like they wanted to do, or they wanted you to do. And I was like, I'll just do it on my own. I don't care. And Bill Oberst had sent me an email, like he saw one of my shorts, and he was like, hey, if you want me to work on something, I'd love to work with you. And I looked at his stuff and I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy wants to work with me. I'll write a whole fucking feature for you, dude. So I did. And it's like, I guess, Bill Oberst exploitation, right? I tried to push people as far as they will go. He took Epicac, right? You know what that stuff is?
Yeah, makes you throw up.
Yeah, so
Heffernan did that.
So one of our crew members found like a 5-year expired Ipecac at their house. And I was like, he drinks antifreeze, right? And then like pukes his guts out. And I was like, let's do like just take shots of red food coloring and red vines and all this red stuff, and then drink that Ipecac. And we sat there for like 45 minutes while it kicked in. And he's like, and it just like
Go, we're ready.
Fountains out, and I was just laughing uncontrollably. I don't know. It was like probably the giddiest moment I've had behind the camera.
Was it genius?
Yeah.
Was it all in the trailer? Or
it's not in the trailer.
I didn't think so. Okay,
No,
'cause I didn't say I would have remembered that.
I think we would have gotten in trouble for that.
But it is pretty awesome when you have an actor who's willing to do that.
Oh yeah, he was really into it. I tried to challenge him to say no, and he just never said no for anything. And I talked to him about like, if I cut your arm off for a scene and we could get it put back on, would you do that? Like, and he was like, yeah, if you paid for it to be reattached, I would do that. And I was like, holy shit, this guy is amazing.
That is
right?
some method fucking acting.
Is he a method actor?
We didn't make him cut his arm. He's not a method actor or anything. Like he snaps it right off. I heard about Christian Bale. Like he's method, right?
Yeah.
But he's not method all the time, right? Like when the camera starts rolling, then
Like
it snaps
Daniel Day-Lewis
in,
or
right?
somebody who stays in character the whole
Yeah.
Call me
time.
Mr. Lincoln.
Right, exactly. Even though he goes
I
all-
love Daniel Day-Lewis.
Me too.
I
No,
love
me too,
Daniel
actually,
Day-Lewis.
but there's two different
it seems,
techniques there.
right, yeah. So like when the camera rolls, you can kind of snap into it and stuff. And I think that's kind of what he does, right? So like as soon as the camera's done rolling, he's like super kind and just gentle and super sweet, and then the camera rolls and he's drooling and raping people, you know?
So did you find that freeing as a director who thought he was a behind the camera director? Is that when you started coming out? And
I think
because
so.
It was such an action, reaction.
Yeah, I mean,
there?
like, well, I had to do that with previous things, but yeah, like I had a real connection with him, and he was so willing and ready to try things, and I think that made me overcome a lot of my fears, because like as a director, people ask you like a question and you want to give them an answer, but sometimes it's the wrong answer, right? And like most amateur filmmakers, it's like they give that wrong answer and they lean into it, right? It's like it's the wrong answer, and it's clearly the wrong answer. They're like, I have to go with it because I have to be right. I have to be the director and stuff. And just being completely wrong and being like, oh, I fucked up. Let's do it completely differently this time. And then like being that open, and he's totally open to it and not thinking like, oh, well, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. That was absolutely freeing, and I think actors can appreciate that too. I give you the wrong notes, right? And then you go and do it, and you go, that feels weird. And I go,
usually
that was weird, dude. Let's try something else.
You're right.
But Greg gives me notes, I do the opposite, and it turns out just fine. It's great.
Yeah, it gets cut out. That's what happens.
Right.
So, how long of a shoot was Coyote?
I think it was like a month.
Straight through?
Yeah. We shot straight through. We would take weekends off, and then we'd just jump right back into it. So he flew out from LA. We had an apartment that I sublet from somebody, and it was just like a mattress in an empty room. And he just slept in there, and then he went out and shot and went right back in there. Like I think it was his first time where he was like, I'm going off the grid, and he like got rid of his phone and everything. So it was just like,
really dove into it.
yeah. It was, I think it was less of a big deal at that time. Like, not everybody had smartphones at that point. I don't think he has a smartphone
What year was
at all
that?
still.
What year was that?
2012.
2012. So 2005, 2012.
I felt a lot better about it and stuff. And we did things that like, okay, we did like the rape scenes and stuff in the one film, and like I liked that because it got a reaction out of people, but then it felt really cheap, right? Like I don't like that in movies anymore. Like I don't like to really watch that, and I feel like that's a really cheap way to like, it's like cheap heat if you're like a wrestling person, right? Like you go out and you go, St. Louis sucks, right? And everybody boos you,
Yeah.
right? Like, and that feels really weak to me. So I wanted to challenge in different ways and stuff. So there's still like sexual content in there and full frontal nudity and stuff, but no rape scenes anymore, right? Like let's keep things provocative in a kind of different way.
Now, did you get assistance from RAC?
The RAC and
MC, I don't know what the hell that is. No,
hold on.
Regional Arts Commission.
Yeah, there's the Regional Arts Commission, and then there's the Missouri Arts Council.
Yeah.
Neither with Coyote, right? Like my first pitches to the Regional Arts Commission was like, I want to go to a church and I want to do this big event and have like satanic things happen, right? Like I want a big satanic thing to happen in this church where you can go and visit and stuff and freak people out like that. And they were like, no, don't do that. So then I learned to kind of like communicate with those guys a little bit better and what they're after and what they want. And it's not, a VHS camcorder with a vagina in it that Bill Oberst fingers.
No.
Talk about Coyote then. You shot straight through. So
Yeah.
what kind of budget did you have on that, if you don't mind talking about?
I think it was like $6,000.
Oh, $6,000.
Yeah.
Wow,
It was like nothing.
So were you working as the teacher then?
No, I was a student.
You were a student shooting.
Yeah,
He came down.
Yeah.
Took no pay.
So like
Or little pay.
very little pay, and like most of the money was like for his flight. I think he got his own food. He like bought us dinner sometimes. I was eating like our cinematographer who's dead now. He was living out in like Illinois, like way out in the sticks, and he had like a garden of like beets and like radishes and stuff, and we were eating like beets and radishes for dinner. Like we had no money. We're poor people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how big of a crew did you have on that?
Very small. So it was me, Nick Walters, who was the cinematographer, Kevin Strange. He made like a bunch of movies, and Alton for a period of time now he does like cartoons and comic books and stuff because this shit costs a lot of money. Yeah, I kind of poached him from there, and then we have my wife, who's my creative partner on everything, and then a couple of people that I just knew from college that just kind of tagged along and stuff, and they helped a lot. And then I met Holly Meinert on that set from Craigslist. She ended up going to Hollywood and working on like really good movies. Magnificent Seven, is that what it's called, right? Like the remake.
Yeah, it's actually
She worked on. She worked. I haven't seen it, but she worked on that, and she worked on Gone Girl and stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, you like do the real thing. But that was after us, and then she came back and helped us with some other movies and
So
stuff.
everybody stick it out the whole time?
Pretty much, yeah. We're all really passionate about it and killing ourselves for it. And it was like the hottest summer in St. Louis at the time. So like our cameras would overheat when we went outside. And we'd have to like go get it in the air conditioning for a couple hours and go back out and shoot.
That's dedication. Eating radishes and beets and working probably 12 or 15 hours a day.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So you mentioned your wife. Was she your wife then? Girlfriend?
I think she was my wife at that point, yeah.
Okay.
So like we've been married for like almost 15 years.
Wow.
We've been together since I was 16 years old.
So was she your creative partner back then?
She started doing her own work. So I did cinematography for her for an experimental film called Crabs in a Dollhouse.
All right.
And it's like a bunch of little crabs in a dollhouse, and it's really interesting. And then like she started doing like a lot of production design for me and stuff because she's just really smart with that stuff, and I'm really not smart with that stuff.
Is that her?
You actually reached out to me for Red Night about production design.
I
you
think
did.
Someone...
And someone was like, "Oh, Carrie should do it," and she was like, I think she was pregnant at the time, and she was like, "Dude, I just can't do it."
Might have been Stancy or someone threw your name in the hat.
Yeah.
Or I might have thrown Carrie's name in the hat.
Yeah, I think you contacted me for Carrie specifically, and I was like, "I'll tell you about some students."
Yeah, I remember that. Like, none of those worked out. Students never do.
Sorry.
But because that's one thing that St. Louis has a serious lack of production designers. There are a handful, and there are some people that I will never work with. But you know, because everyone wants to be the cinematographer, everyone wants to be the director, but I mean, really, none of that shit matters if what you're looking at doesn't look believable.
So here, stop for a second, because Greg, you talked about your 4 pillars. We always mention that, right?
I think sound's really important, and I think performance is really important, and story. I mean, that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Your story being there. Even if you shoot something with a VHS camcorder, that can be aesthetically pleasing. That could be really interesting. So I don't know that like cinematography is necessary. Well, I mean, like
It is
at the most basic
you have to
level,
expect it to look
right?
like a movie.
Like yeah, it can be much more simple than you think. It can all be locked down on sticks and look good. It can be lit just with daylight and look good. But sound is important. You need to be able to hear what people people are saying for sure. And then I like production design a lot. I think that's what makes
right on
aesthetic. Aesthetic's really important for me, right?
And that came through with when the last film you did that I got to see.
That's why it's listed like a film by Trevor and Carrie. There's so much production design in there, and so much like she's a producer, right? And like that's the power of that movie, that it's like, holy shit, look at all the locations and where you are in the world and stuff.
Before we get into that one, what happened with Coyote afterwards?
So it went all over the world and stuff. It got banned from a couple of places for the vagina camera, because it's like an actual. It's
ahead of your time.
It's not real. It's not real, and then I don't know. Like people seem to really like it. I tried to make a movie where like I was like, nobody's gonna like this shit, and I'm gonna feel great about it. And then like everybody liked it.
So was it picked up through distribution?
It
or
was.
Just okay.
It went very poorly. And I don't know that I can even talk about it because there's like litigation.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Without naming names, because that's one thing.
I mean, you can look it up.
No. We're never gonna name. We're never going to talk about the name of a distributor or anything like that.
Well, they said.
Because we think so too, possibly. But part of our journey with this is getting in. We're going to be getting into distribution with our new film.
It was really exciting. And Greg, you talk about it like, they're like, we love it and we'll do everything for you and stuff, and give us the deliverables. And then they kind of do their own thing, and you're waiting and you're like, okay, where's my sales reports? What's going on here? And I think it was number 11 on Amazon for horror movies, like on physical media. And I'm like,
that sounds
good.
Yeah.
And then we got our first sales reports, and it's like a shitload. And then they're like, there are these things called buybacks, and they're like, we had to buy back all that stuff that these people bought, because like they ship it out to stores and stuff, and then they go, we'll buy it back if it doesn't sell. But they did the buybacks like immediately, and it's like, that doesn't sound right. And then their line costs, like I didn't know anything about that stuff, right? Like line costs are, oh, we're gonna cut a new trailer for you. My trailer was fine. Oh, we're gonna make a new poster for you. Their poster sucked compared to ours.
That's
right?
99% of the time.
And then it was like, they paid their buddy like $5,000 for a trailer, and it's like, that's not. That doesn't seem right. We just saw nothing from them. We got like a big box of DVDs that we were allowed to sell on our own. But that's the extent of what we got from them. So $0. But, I didn't spend that much money. And I don't really care.
Well, I care that they screwed you over.
I do too. And I care more about the continued screwing over. Because our contract ran out and then they kept it on streaming. And then they added it to new streaming services, and like we terminated our contract.
Oh yeah,
and it's still out there.
And now you can't get it back
because they're still making
I
money.
have it. It's on streaming services for me too. But like we are on Film Hub, which is like the thing now for indie filmmakers.
Yeah.
A bunch of platforms are like declined because they go, wait a second, it's submitted from two people. I'm not gonna who owns this? I'm not gonna take it. So like Tubi, which is like your big source of revenue, is like nope, and then it's like you're fucked. Like you don't make any money off of it. So we're like, let's tell these guys to stop doing that.
Sorry I went through that.
Thanks for sharing that, because I think it's important to
Yeah,
understand.
it happens to a lot of people.
You get excited, somebody wines and dined you, and then next thing you know, it's like you lost control and you just kind of.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like for new filmmakers, it's like distribution. That means that you've made it. That's your success. But really, like our success was like, I think we were in like 40 film festivals and won awards and stuff. I didn't win any awards. Film won a couple, and then Bill Oberst won a couple. But yeah, like that was the success for it.
So let me ask you this: did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them, the distributor?
Oh, they reached out to us. So some film festivals that when you get in, the little ones that don't matter. Right?
Yeah.
It's a big fucking scam, right?
Yep.
So like the festival's a scam too. So
Yep.
we went out to Pittsburgh, I think it was, or Philadelphia. We flew out. We got there and it was like a big fucking shit show. And we were supposed to go on at like 10 p.m. and we went on at 2 a.m. And it's like, we got like 5 people here. So like, what the fuck is this? Oh, it was a film horror convention, right? So the festival matters less than the convention part.
But what you said about where the film's at right now, a distributor, if you don't stay on top of them, they'll just keep making money off your movie. I'm not saying everyone will do that, but plenty will. It's kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, if they're not staying on top of it, they're not going to have the resources or the wherewithal to seek legal counsel, so we'll just keep doing it.
And there's this thing in most contracts called forced arbitration, if you're familiar. So like this company's over in like New Jersey or whatever, right? And it's like, if you have any dispute, you need to come to New Jersey.
Yep.
And you have to deal with our arbiter, who deals with us all the time, but has never seen you before.
Right.
Yeah, you're fucked every direction.
Yeah, but if your contract runs out and they say like it's all good, you own the rights to it, and they continue to use it,
Yeah, well,
I think they're in trouble.
What happened after Coyote?
I kept going to school. I made a pilot that didn't do anything, and I liked it a lot. I thought it was fun. It was like not super surreal. It was called Dope, and I worked with Jackie Kelly, who you worked with before.
I know that was Ford Fanter.
Yes.
And Jackie Kelly.
Yeah, that's mine. We did that, and it went to Vice. I think Vice is gone now, right? Vice TV. I didn't see a whole lot of narrative coming out of there. Right?
No, there's been a lot of reality.
Yeah.
Like
So
you said, docus.
So I guess I like to think that that's the reason why they said no, and not because I suck, but it was probably because I suck. But we made it that far, and then it's like, we don't have any money to continue this thing. I wanted to, but I recycled some ideas into other scripts and stuff. But
there's the filmmaking gods giving you a pivot,
yeah.
and then you moved on to something else.
Yeah. They were like, dude, you're going to get locked into this shitty show, and everyone's going to hate you. Let's do something else, man. I enjoyed my experience. It's probably the most fun I've had on a set. It was just a lot of fun.
And your goal was to do it as that to try to present it to whomever, Vice or whomever, right?
Yeah, it kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, I sort of just hoped that, like, if we made something good enough, it would find its audience. But most people were just kind of meh on it, you know? Like, it just wasn't what people wanted.
Very familiar with the word no.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
nobody knows the
Rejection
yes.
is the thing all filmmakers experience, right?
Yes.
We get a lot of it.
Yes.
We must like that.
It's not all bad.
No, it's not all bad. It's all consistent. Okay, so after that, the latest feature is The Man in Room 6. How did that come about?
Dope didn't do what I wanted it to do, and I was really trapped in my mind of doing something that's not climactic in terms of structure, but more like episodic, but all one piece now. I want it to be done, right? Like I want to film this thing and have a whole thing at the end of it. So I thought of this idea to do something that's kind of like an anthology or a omnibus. I guess omnibus means it's all by one person. Anthology is multiple people, but not in a way that you've seen before, where there's a big story and then all these little like side stories and stuff. Instead, I want it to be like all kind of a straight through line, but then there are these intersecting web of things, and to really challenge the form instead of challenge people with like content and nudity and violence and stuff, to instead challenge people with how a story is told. I really like to mess with people and freak people out and stuff, and I thought that's the real challenge, right? Like, take those tools away from somebody and just do it with conventional storytelling techniques. Like, how can you remorph this into something new and different?
Well, you saying that, because my first thought in seeing the indie film was like, man, over 2 hours is long as hell.
Oh yeah, nobody likes that.
But your description of it, like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas before it's like, this is a long ass independent film.
Yeah.
But you saying that you're basically doing an omnibus.
Yeah.
In a one feature length form, like, okay, having seen the film, like, yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, we had a lot of people say like, oh, you should break it up and make it into a series and stuff, and I just didn't want to do that. Like, I have a good experience like watching series all in a row, you know, all at once, and I want that without the here's the intro again, here's the, you know, and without the, this thing has now ended and now we're starting a new one and stuff. Let's keep it all kind of cohesive and bleeding together and stuff. I think that's an interesting approach, and that's what I wanted to do with it.
What is Man in Room 6 about?
Well, it's about a girl who meets an old man who claims to be immortal. He might not be immortal. And then he tells her some stories about how he got that way. But it's really about the girl, right? Something happens halfway through that you probably wouldn't expect, and then it takes a drastic turn in terms of subgenre and stuff. And I really like that too, you know. I like there was a Coen Brothers movie called Serious Man, where it just like fucking ends, and I was like, I love it. Yeah. Like there's like a tornado that comes and everything's building up, and then it just cut to black. It's over.
I love that.
Yeah,
I do. People are like, how could you? I go,
I know.
It was awesome.
And people were like, oh, I hate this. And I was like, for a second, I was like, oh, I hate this. And I was like, I love this. Yeah. I love this. Shit like that. I don't know. I really like that. And, you know, I just want to do stuff like that. But nobody likes that. I don't know.
No, I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it. That's great. And, you know, it's really hard to get somebody to watch 2.5 hours. I didn't know what to expect,
obviously.
And that's the best way to go with it. I think with the 2.5 hour format too, I made it like in chapters, right? So you get the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, you can pop it in, like skip chapters and stuff, like reading a book. Like you can watch a little bit at a time. And I was like, that's a great way to watch this. And people are like, you can't watch movies like that.
Well, I tell you, I was never bored with it.
Well, let me ask you this related to that, because it was starring Jackie Kelly.
Yes.
And Bill Oberst again.
Yes.
How long did it take you to shoot that film?
I don't know. It was close to 3 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Because we've also done a 3-year film. And this question, it works out perfectly for you. I don't know if this was intentional or not. Uh-huh. Jackie gained and lost weight.
Yeah.
Was that intentional?
Not all the time. So it was for a character shift that she does. Like she plays multiple characters. So like the old man tells these stories and she projects herself into the stories, right? So for one of those, she looks very, very different. I love it and stuff. But she had some kind of health issue at one point that wasn't intentional. I felt like it worked out pretty well because of how we filmed it in these different segments and stuff. It seemed fine until I got like one review and they were like, was that the same person? Because she looked so different.
She did.
And I was like, oh shit, I didn't think that like you wouldn't be able to tell it's even the same person there.
Which loses a lot of
Yeah, it
Yeah,
loses some meaning.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. And whatever meaning you get out of it is what the movie is. And I don't care. So, like...
I think that was a happy accident, really, that it worked out that way, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Because I had a similar film, a World War II film, which takes place, over a short period of time. And it's obviously a linear story, but it took us 3 years to make the movie. So we had actors who gained a significant amount of weight, which made it really difficult to, like, this scene takes place 5 minutes later.
Yes.
Wow, this guy doesn't look the same.
Yes. Did you know you were going in for 3 years?
No.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I was like, when I pitched this, I was like, this is at least a year to everybody.
So you knew it was going to be long.
Yeah.
But not that long.
Yeah.
But, so did you have problems with continuity or?
A couple places, yeah. So, like, we had a few things where we had, like, pickups. Yeah. And that we had to push those off, right? Because it was like something at the ocean or something like that. It's like, I can't get there, So some of that stuff had to wait till the end. So, like, if you look at, like, the final few scenes, like, Jackie's in, like, a hospital, and then we go outside, and now she's, like, at the ocean, and it's like she looks a lot different here. Other than that, we didn't have a ton of issues with continuity. It helps to make something that's, like, surreal, and, like, that's what the script is, right? I go, let's have this, like, amorphous thing. And I know what the scenes do. I know what they're supposed to do there. If I have to scrap it, I can, like, make this scene do that same thing, and it'll be fine. Or I can rewrite it on the fly, and I know what needs to happen to connect these two pieces. That was kind of the approach. It was like an on-the-road kind of thing.
So what stretched it out 3 years, though? What changed from your year vision to 3 years?
Financing.
Financing?
Right, yeah. So I wasn't ready to go into production, but I was, like, writing for the RIC grants, right? And I was like, how about we write one for like a promo video? We'll do a Kickstarter. We want stuff to put together a little teaser to make that happen. And they're like, here's $3,000. And then I'm like, what do I do? I was like, let's shoot some scenes. And then we had started, and it was like, keep going. Yeah, it was like, wait until your next tax refund, and then you can shoot 5 more scenes and stuff. We did have, like, 2 periods where we shot, like, a big bulk of it.
Yeah, so who else is in the cast?
A bunch of people. I don't know. Who do you know?
Joe Hammerstone?
Yeah, he's in there.
I was going to say, yes, Hammerstone.
Yeah, he's got a little cameo at the end. He was in Coyote, too. So,
I didn't know that.
And he was in a short film that I made before that.
What hasn't Hammerstone been
So it's like, I try to shoehorn him in just a little bit somewhere.
I think anyone who's worked with Joe, any director, thinks Joe is awesome.
Joe Hammerstone. He's a good guy.
Yes.
He's cool. There's other people in it, too.
Stanzi?
Stanzi's in it, yeah. So he doesn't act very often. But
no, he doesn't.
He came out and performed really well. I was so surprised at how well he performed. He was excellent.
Eric is a very strong actor.
Yeah, when you talk to him in person, I'm like, I don't know how big this guy can get. Like, he's very subdued and stuff. We always talk about him like he's a vampire because he's just, like, really polite and quiet and stuff. I think that he knows so much from doing it himself to ask the right questions and to communicate the right way and get what I want from him. I had a great time with Eric. I thought he was awesome.
And Jackie did pretty damn awesome too.
Yeah, Jackie's all right, huh? She's only in like 95% of the scenes. Yeah, she's great. When we did Dope, we put out these surveys that were anonymous. Like, here, tell us what you think of the thing. And man, people were just like scathing. And they were like, you think you're funny, but you're not. And I'm like, oh my God. And like, I was like, I'll never make a joke in a movie again. Everyone loved Jackie. They were like, these characters are unlikable and all this stuff, but we like this one. And I was like, she's got something going on there to overcome my terrible writing and make people like her.
Yeah, never read the reviews as a indie filmmaker.
Oh yeah, I read them all. I get sad.
So I saw this was out now. Man Room 6 is. Did you learn from your distribution? Did you do things different?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
Did you? So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we're using Film Hub.
Okay.
It's self-distribution where you can do streaming. We did self-distribution for physical media too. It's like actually pretty easy to do now. Like I got the discs printed and I got the sleeves printed or
Yeah, I
whatever.
saw that, yeah.
So we'll stick the sleeves in the case. Like that's fine. We'll save some money there. Everybody's selling off, like these companies are selling off these great big like towers of Blu-ray burners and stuff. So we got some of those and we just like pop them in and I authored all the stuff myself, so it's got cool like menus and stuff. Because I did that for Coyote for reviewers, and our menus and stuff. It was all really cool. And then when that company put out our shit, it sucked. It was just like a flat image, and you can press play or press this other thing, and it didn't have like.
right, it was basic.
Yeah.
and
You
they
can
moved
do
it, they took it back.
really cool shit with like a DVD and
And
Blu-ray
they charge
menu.
you for the pleasure.
Oh, absolutely, right? And I sent them an ISO, and I said, just use this, right? Like, it's ready for you. And they didn't use it because,
They're
they wanted to
bastards.
charge me. Yeah, they do that, right? I published my own stuff and put it out there on, like, they have, like, a thing for, like, web stores and stuff, so we just did that. I stole that from Hack Movies. Or Strangeville, I don't know what the fuck they're called.
But that's what they
I'm
were
sorry, guys. I'm sorry. You guys are great.
But that's what they were doing, right? You learned something from somebody else.
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
you
I
took
saw
as a
that and
good
I was like,
marketing
oh, that's really cool. You can just make your own web store and stuff and it costs nothing at all. Why don't I do that? I know Amazon just totally screws you. Like if you sell through Amazon, they take
Right.
like a bunch of it. And then Stanzi was really cool and he was like, hey, I self-distribute because he does that. And talk to these stores and they'll talk to you and stuff. And I did. And they're like, yeah, we'll buy 10 copies. We'll buy this many copies. And they have them in their store and stuff too. And then Film Hub it's just the way. It's a split after the fact, and you can probably make more money through it's an aggregator.
Right.
Are you familiar? So they're not like a distributor. They don't promote your stuff. You're responsible for that. But if
You're doing that anyway?
You're doing that
exactly,
anyway.
you're doing it anyway. It's an 80-20 split from them.
Okay.
So they take 20%, you take 80. But then there's some like little caveats that you have to learn about too. Like you could publish on Amazon streaming yourself and you'd make more money, right? Because Amazon takes their cut too. But if you give it to Film Hub, they'll push you up the ranks and stuff and try to get it out there a little bit better. So we gave them the right to kind of distribute everywhere and stuff. And
So it is like a cafeteria style where you're working a contract with them to like.
so yeah, there's no contract really. You can stop at any point. You can say it's basically like a marketplace for these streaming services. So they pay Film Hub to have access to their marketplace, and then they go, I want this movie, this movie, this movie.
They're picking them once they're on Film Hub. They
Yes.
come in, and
Yes.
then Film Hub tries to drive yours to wherever place you
Yeah,
guys
so
position. Okay.
if you're cool with Film Hub and they think you have something good, they'll make it like one of the main featured things on their marketplace. So like that's part of just let them deal with everybody. They've been good. They paid us.
Okay.
We see money. That's
Hey,
crazy.
hey,
You see
congratulations on that.
insights, so you see how much money you're going to make, and then like the streaming service takes a few months to actually pay it out.
Sure.
But then they pay it out. I was like amazed. I was like, this isn't real.
So 3 years. So things have changed in 3 years.
Yeah.
Did you go into this knowing you were self-distributing and just you were going to
Yeah.
play it whatever the market
Yep.
looked like
I was
at
like,
that time? So-
fuck every
Okay.
distributor. I don't like it. Like I'd heard horror stories about Lionsgate, and I'm like, I'm not good enough for Lionsgate. And if that's bad, this is nonsense, and we're just going to do it this way. We looked at indie rights too, and they were like, we want you to cut it in half and make it into two things. And honestly, it probably would have made us more money that way if we're like, oh, The Man in Room 6 Part 1 and Part 2. But I was like, no. It's my creative thing, and I want to do it my way. And much respect to my producers and stuff that were like, okay, because like if I'm on the other side of things and I'm like, I want money, I want to see a return on investment and stuff, I would be like, dude, you got to break this into pieces. We could have 2 movies right now.
But you're seeing a return. You're seeing a return, and you're holding to what you want to do. I respect that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first money I've ever seen. Ever.
Did you go on a festival run with Man
We did a few festivals, but that's a hard 2.5 hours is a hard program.
It is.
Sucking up a lot of their
time
time.
slots. Or,
So what's cool about that though is when you get into the festival, you're like, I won, because it's a 2.5 hour
you're like,
movie.
yeah.
Because they have to like build their shit around you. So yeah, we went out to Arizona, Origins Film Festival, and we won Best Film there, and Jackie won Best Actress, and I won Best Director. My first award. Yeah, I'm not really sure why, but I'm happy for Jackie. Jackie deserves it for sure. Got nominated for a couple other things, and got these cool like little statues that look like mummies and stuff. And then Nathan Karimi's Film Festival, his inaugural one, we won there too.
So what's the future look like for you?
I have a feature script, and I'm really excited about it because it's like the first script that I've written where I think that someone might shoot me in the street for it, and it's like that's powerful material, right? Like if you can tickle a nerve like that, this seems interesting, and it's been something that's been in my head for a really long time, but I really don't want to do the crowdfunding thing. I hate it.
It is a drag.
I don't like it at all.
Have you had success with
bogus. I guess. I don't know. What do you consider success?
$1?
Sure. Yeah, I've had a lot of
More than
success.
it costs you to put it up.
Making your goal. Have you made your goal with the crowdfund?
Yeah, it's always like you have like this main goal, and then there's like a secondary thing, and I've never made the main goal or like exceeded that or anything, but I've always gotten my money back, or I've always gotten the money out of it. Like we've always hit the threshold for it, but like it feels really bogus because like they're not helping you at all, right? Like it's an escrow account or something, and then they're taking 9% or 5% or whatever.
Yeah, but they built the platform. They did. I mean, they gave you a place to put it out.
Whatever.
We didn't want to do it.
Sucks.
It does suck. No, it sucks.
Because like every person that contributes, I push them there directly, right? Like they didn't stumble onto it and go, "This is cool," right? Like that's what you expect doing a crowdfunding campaign. I'm going to go up on Kickstarter and someone's going to discover it, and then they're going to give me some money. No, it never happens.
I felt like begging.
That's what it felt like, begging.
Yeah, exactly.
That don't come to the movies you made in the past, and now you're begging them to support the movie in the future.
Yeah,
it's like, oh.
Yeah, it seems like nonsense. I'm not into it anymore. I'll just ask them, give me $20, dude. I'll put it in my savings account.
That feels a little better.
You know? Yeah, I mean, like that. It feels better to have a savings account where like you see some money from the previous movie and stuff, and then it's like it's accumulating interest now, right? And that feels better than giving away 9% of everything that you begged for.
So let me ask you this: do you think that film distribution from a separate company is dead?
I don't think so. There's a bunch of naive filmmakers out there that can get
Well,
scammed,
I mean,
right?
from the filmmaker perspective, do you think it's dead for filmmakers, that is just a dead-end path, that you cannot make money that way?
I mean, there's like non-traditional distribution, like indie rights, and I've heard good stories about indie rights. They didn't want our thing to be the way it was.
Sure.
But they're basically just an aggregator too. They're not going to promote your stuff either. And with Film Hub, it just feels like a machine is churning out the money and stuff, rather than there's like a gatekeeper that could just lie about how much your stuff made, right? Like you can see reports coming from individual streaming services.
If nobody picks up your movie or goes to watch it, you
That's
get
true.
zero.
That's true.
So it's way different than them pumping it out and saying, well, I had to do this, and you got to recuperate the cost before I give you a dime.
Yeah.
And those reset every year, and what all the other stinking rules that are out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, indie rights has a benefit that they're like a con film market and the American film market, and they have their big like binder full of films. People can look through it and go, oh shit, I want that and stuff. And I think that there's some kind of benefit for that. But I did AFM when it was online because I can't fly out to LA.
Yeah.
It was surprising how many scam distributors were there, and how much it was just filmmakers trying to get their stuff sold. Like that was everything, right? Like I expected it to be like a hub for all these like business people that are trying to buy up movies, but instead it's like a bunch of filmmakers like, please take my thing, and talking to all the bad people because all the bad people are there.
Yeah.
Right, trying to get 100 to get one, right? That's right. They're just buying them up, and
Yep.
within 6 months, that one is probably at the end of the list, and they got 1,000 more.
Yep.
So
It's
what
a
did you
numbers
do
game.
to push your movie? Because obviously you had to do it yourself through self-distro. What steps did you take?
It's really hard. With Coyote, it was super easy. Like, and it was 2013, we were done with it. And everybody was just asking me, like, for screeners to review and stuff. We got a ton of reviews. For this, we had to, like, really ask people. There's this thing going on now where there are these PR firms for filmmakers like us, and it's like you pay $2,000 and they're going to shop your stuff around to get reviews, and because they exist now, you can't go to a reviewer themselves and go like, hey, will you look at my thing? They'll just ghost you. Like, they're not into it. And things like movie review websites that are a big deal, Film Thread, I think it is,
Yeah.
where you pay them to do a review now.
That's
Yeah, because it
changed.
didn't used to be. Because
You can get Film Threat to do it for free, but if you want it to be done within like 6 months or something, it's like, oh, now pay us a little bit and you can get
yeah,
it out
because
there.
we sent stuff to Film Threat,
Yeah.
way back when, and they just reviewed it. And
Yeah.
No,
put
but
it
I
out
can see
there.
how everything becomes a top-down thing, and the reviewers are even like, no, I'll work with these 3 services only, right? They're going to send me stuff. It's less work on them. They're only
Yeah.
going to send them good stuff or stuff they selected
Yeah,
off
we
of, say, only...
we did a bunch of homework and we were like, these people would like it, right? Like, these are the types of people that we want to review it and stuff. And then we sent feelers out, and like that's what we did with Coyote. It was just like, hey, what do you think of this? If you want it, I'll send you something, right? And like a lot of people responded. And this, it was not like that at all. It was just it was radio silence for most reviews and stuff. So it was really just a matter of getting the people involved with the creation of the film to talk about it and stuff. And social media, I like, as much as everybody thinks it's really important, it's not really, right? Like,
The same 12 people like
Yeah.
your shit.
like
yeah, you got to get outside the box.
that's
Blah, blah,
totally
blah.
true. And like the people that are on Facebook and stuff, they don't leave their house, right? Like, that's good for your streaming stuff. Let them know when your stuff's out on Tubi, because then they'll actually go and like they'll click on it and watch it that way.
Will they?
But you're yeah, I think so. According to my notes, it looks like they did.
Okay.
Getting people out to a theater is different. Those people aren't going to concerts. Well, some of them are, but like
Yeah.
a lot of them are just at home on their TVs and stuff. So actually talking to people is really important, right? Actually communicating with people is really important. And I think that everyone neglects that because they're like, oh, you need insights on Facebook, and like it's like a bunch of fucking bots and stuff. Like, you put out Facebook ads and it's like so many people saw it. No, they didn't. A couple people saw it, and it's the same people that you talked to already,
Yeah.
right? So just talk to people. Like, for real, that's it. I know that I have an unfair advantage because I have a bunch of students that I talk to all the time, right? And they
Hey,
know
use
me,
what you can, man.
right? And then I go, oh yeah, I got a movie and stuff.
Right.
And
And half
like,
of them won't see it either. Oh, yeah, we'll come out now.
yeah, like my production students, a lot of them came out. Good for them. They're nice people, right? It helps when you screen at Webster and then
Yeah.
you have
Yes,
Webster
I was
students,
gonna
right?
say, yeah, you used your resources there as
Yeah,
well.
but yeah, I think young filmmakers, like that should be like your audience, right? Like they,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what our whole podcast is. Hopefully, one day reach out to is like-minded independent filmmakers who just want to hear more shit about people grinding it out, trying to
Right.
get things done.
yeah. Unfortunately, coming way back to my suck, like people think like this is a very Machiavellian kind of business, right? Like step on the other guy so you can get a little bit further and
Yeah.
stuff. And like that's what they think, instead of like everybody elevates everybody.
Yep.
The film community is cool. Like the actors, again, I like the actors, right? Like they're all like, I could work with this person in the future and stuff, and they're great. But like the filmmakers, it's always a competition.
It always is, especially if this was a festival that we went to. I'm not even sure for what movie it was, but me and another filmmaker were talking, and we both were like, yeah, neither one of us are going to see each other's films, are we? We're like, no. We both know this. Because
Yeah.
no filmmaker wants to see any other filmmaker's movie. They just want other people to see theirs. Which, I mean, I'm joking, but there's some truth in that, too.
I like it for scouting. Like I'm always looking for like actors and stuff, and someone who can do the thing that I have in my head. I watch stuff and I genuinely find things that I really like. I've felt like that at the Filmmakers Showcase a few times. Like there are sometimes experimental works and I'm like, whoa, that's incredible. That's really cool. I like that sort of stuff. I find things that I like a lot, but usually shorts, right? Features are tough to swallow, especially for me now. I got like a 2-year-old. I can watch like 30 minutes of a Disney movie and then I'm done. Right. So it's kind of tough to watch a lot of movies now, but I watch stuff.
Well, going back to just a second ago, you're talking about how most people in Hollywood movie making, it's backstabbing to get to the next rung. In the independent world, it shouldn't be that way. You know, you pick people up and you help each other out and you get there. You don't need to fuck somebody over.
I agree.
Or anything we can all get to the same place at the same time if we help each other out instead of fuck each other over.
I have I have some beef with somebody, and I won't say their name either, but
Local filmmaker?
A filmmaker who put out a crowdfunding campaign, and I was like, oh, cool, I know people in this, right? And I watched his pitch video, and like in the middle of it, he goes, and this is not a 2.5 hour movie.
Oh no!
And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh,
What are you gonna say that for?
And I was, and I heard later, he wasn't talking about you. And then like he went on an interview, and he was like, that didn't mean any particular film. And I was like, dude, what? That's fucked up, dude. So yeah, I think I'm feeling that more than ever. Right?
You know
like,
what,
it's just
man?
like, why the fuck would you do that? You know?
I had, not that exact same thing happened, but after my first feature, another local filmmaker took it upon himself to write a screenplay mocking my first feature.
Yeah.
And another person said, hey man, just want you to know this person wrote this, just going to send it to you just to read it. And I was like, holy shit. It's like, okay, you don't like my movie, but you had to take the time to write like a 10-page script shitting on my movie.
Yeah. Why would they do that?
Wow. I was blown away.
It's just cruel.
I know.
That's why I'm glad I'm new to this business as far as a producer and stuff, because I don't have any of these stories. But I think some of the things we're trying to do with this podcast is bring folks like yourself on, who you have stories that young filmmakers can understand a little bit more. They could look at Man Room 6 and go, wow, man, he's doing all this. Well, yeah, you struggled, and you've got screwed in distribution, and you've got all these things. That's where we're at, and that's what we're trying to do to maybe close that family in a little bit more and say we're all kind of in the same boat
for
here.
sure. I mean, this is good. You're bringing me in to talk about things, right?
Right.
And giving me a platform to speak. And you're doing that for other filmmakers that are local and stuff.
And talking about our films. And, because we want to do...
Or connecting.
Yes.
I was thinking Man in Room 6,
Networking,
just to go back to Man in Room 6, again, Chris and I actually went to see it at the Winnymore Auditorium.
That's probably our best screening.
Okay. And there's quite a few people there. And Chris and I went and we met you briefly afterwards. There's a crowd of people surrounding you and everything. But I really dug it, man. The value of what you got to see on the screen, just the production value I'm speaking of, it surprised me, because it's hard to surprise me seeing local filmmakers. Because, I mean, there's some good stuff coming out of St. Louis. And I too have watched a lot of good things. But you never know what you're getting into. Yeah. And I'm happy I went.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy I made a positive impact.
Yeah, I'm very glad I went too, because, I saw bits and pieces of Coyote, so I knew about it. Yeah. And I knew Jackie, obviously, and Stanzi very well. So I was like, I want to check this out, because I know these people. I'd never met you. Your film, that was a great experience. This other director, Josh Guffey, he had a film called All Gone Wrong.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah,
it's good. I really liked
really good.
it. I would say in both cases, I went in expecting and I'm not trying to bash anybody, but I went in expecting a typical St. Louis film. Yeah. Yes. And what I mean by that is the primary focus of a typical St. Louis film is cinematography. Oh, we shot on the new Red XP, blah, 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 blah. And everything else takes a back seat. Yeah. It's like, I don't care what you shot on. That means literally nothing to me. That you shot, we used Cine Prime. I don't give a shit. If you used the Arri Alexa, I don't care. What I care about, was this a compelling story? Yeah. Story for me trumps everything. Yeah. So it's like, was this interesting? Was it cool? I don't care what you shot it on. It's a movie. It's supposed to look good. Yeah. Right? So I was very pleased in both cases that it was not, this beautiful camera. Who gives a shit?
Hey, it's beautiful.
I mean, no, it's. I'm sorry, I don't want to say it's a very
no.
pretty film.
Yeah.
But
the focus was on the story.
focus was on the story.
And acting, and everything else was right as it moved through. Right, and you challenged everybody to think during that film. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
that's the thing, right? Like it's verisimilitude is the willful suspension of disbelief.
Okay.
You get sucked into a movie, right, emotionally. And then there's this other thing called Verfremdungseffekt. That's a Bertolt Brecht thing. I don't know. I'm being weird, right?
You're
School
being
us,
It's the alienation effect, right? So you recognize that you're watching a movie. So anytime, at one point, breaking the fourth wall did that to you. Someone looks into the camera, right? And then you go, wait a second, I'm watching something. There's a movie going on here, right? And you start to think about it rather than feel about it, right? And I really like the idea of doing this push-pull thing where you get sucked in and then like rip you out real quick and go back and forth. This stuff was done a lot with like the French New Wave and stuff, 1960s, right? And then in like the 1980s, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yes, thank you. Like that became like, oh, wait a sec, that's kind of weird and interesting. And then it's like, that's kind of normal now.
Yeah.
And then Deadpool does it, and it's like everything breaks the fourth wall. Everybody looks in the camera, and you're like, that's just normal for movies, right? It's been that way historically, right? Like things are
In waves, yes.
are like, well, they're like special effects initially, and then it's just like part of
Yes, that
Storytelling
has to be
language.
in it to be like
Right.
the standard now.
yeah, like a dissolve. That was
Right.
like, holy shit! There's a how did they do that?
Right.
Right, 1902.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, that's just normal, right? A close up. Oh my God, there's a disembodied head. It's gigantic. And now it's just like, that's normal, and we just read it as normal. So I think the breaking the fourth wall has kind of lost it. So you got to do it some other way.
now,
So just like fuck with shit, right? Like ruin the format of a movie.
When's the next project coming out? You got
don't
anything else? You don't? Is it written? Is it?
Yeah, it's written that's like always the thing, right? You go like, oh shit, yeah, we just wrapped. We wrapped on our thing, and the first thing is, where can I see it? I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I just try to keep everything like kind of under wraps until it's ready. And that's what I did with Man in Room 6. Like people knew about it only because people were working on set, right? Like I didn't post about it. I didn't say like, oh, look at all the cool stuff we're doing. And I feel like that's kind of the thing too. You don't want to like, this is going to sound crass.
I know.
You don't want to blow your load early, right?
Yes.
Can't blow your load.
Right. So like I've seen plenty of people put out like a trailer and people are like, yes, that's awesome. And it's like a year later because they've got to do their festival run and all that stuff. So do your festivals, do all your stuff, and then start promoting it and stuff whenever you're ready to distribute it. Because like
100% agree.
Film Hub, it's like a couple of months from it actually getting picked up. So like it says to be selected, delivered, and you go like, okay, I got like either 4 weeks to 2 months, and I can start pushing this thing like it's going to be on Tubi.
So did you do the festivals before Tubi?
Yeah.
Okay. So you did all that first.
Yeah,
and
I did
then-
all
and then
festivals
said,
first.
I'm ready to roll now.
Yeah.
So I got some word out there. I got some visibility.
Yeah.
So now I can put it out there.
Yeah, we
Okay.
we had some offers for festivals after we did the distribution thing, and we were just like, no. What is the measurement of success for
Right.
me? You know, like what does it mean? And I don't know. I don't have that answer. Do you have that answer? What would be success for you, Chris?
Successful for me is paying back the investors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what I consider successful. Not making $10 million or whatever.
I'd consider that pretty successful.
Yeah, that'd be successful, sure. But an attainable level of success for me is we pay back the investors.
Yeah.
And the ability to make the next idea whenever that comes around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's true. The pay back the investors and have the ability to make the next film.
You know though that like as you're paying back those investors, you need to be making the next film so that
Yeah.
you can like once you're like, okay, I'm making this other thing, people are going to start looking at your old stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how you can promote something that's not brand new. You know, like
That's what's always strange to me when you see a director finish up a film and they have a pretty successful, maybe they get their money back or at least some of it, and you ask them what they're doing next, and they're like, I don't know. I haven't got a plan.
Yeah.
I go, fuck, dude, you just spent a bunch of money and all this time, and you're not going to use this as a springboard? I mean, you're 100% right. You need to keep going.
yeah.
Because you were writing, you have a plan.
Yeah, I feel like I'm slow though. I wish I was faster.
Yeah, but you're writer, director, your wife's producer, right? It's all within your...
But writing's a bitch, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
Woman I'm dating, she's dying to watch Red Knight. And I'm sure it's going to be a crushing disappointment when she finally sees it. But for our entire relationship, you've been working on this film. I just want to see it, you know. And I said, no, I'm not going to show it to you until it's completely done. But I'm working on a new script, so
Yeah.
she's can I read that? I'm like, okay, I'll let you read that because I'm not even done with the first draft. And as Hemingway said, all first drafts are shit.
Yeah.
So just know that this process, from what you read now to what it's going to finally be, is probably going to be very different.
Yeah.
Because it's never a straight path.
People that's never read a script before and they're used to reading novels, they can't understand what the hell's going on in a script anyway.
Yeah.
Did
she read it?
The words.
What's that?
Did she read it?
She read it.
What did she think?
She liked it.
Yeah.
My ex-wife would have hated it.
That's a ringer.
All right.
Winner.
You said, I know, it's first draft. I told you.
Yeah, it could have been the 10th draft. She would have hated it.
Yeah.
But so we've been talking about what we're going to go on this distribution journey. Mm-hmm. We are, but I'll be honest, I do not think we're going to find a distributor.
An honest one.
No.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
But, because, we've got films in distribution. We went through the same thing you went through. Someone reached out to us and, hey, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. We had multiple offers.
Yeah.
And they were all percentage offers and
Yeah.
no minimum guarantee and stuff.
That's about
I
gone
don't know
too,
if-
right? Yep.
Yeah. So actually, you can negotiate a minimum guarantee now because Film Hub is destroying these people.
Okay, well, that's good
Yeah.
leverage.
So
to
that
understand
is
Very
possible,
nice.
but know that that's all you're getting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of a few companies that have also have bad reputations, but do end up giving a minimum guarantee for certain movies.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
So it's possible.
Don't bank on it.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of ways that they can.
It's a new world out there, man. It's just crazy out there. What's going on?
Yeah, aggregators are cool. I mean, like, why deal with somebody like that? Like if you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean that's my point from the beginning is if we're not going to make any money anyways, I would rather we put the film out ourselves and make zero as opposed to someone else puts the film out, makes a bunch of money, and we still make zero.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, think about what they used to do for you guys, right? Like, you have a low budget movie that no one's heard of, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then they're going to take 12 of these, but they also have Spider-Man, right? And they go, okay, Blockbuster, you want Spider-Man? Take these other 12 movies.
Yep.
And that's a great deal. That's a great deal for you. That makes
but
a
it
lot of
used
sense.
to
But
be like that.
no more Blockbuster, no more anything
it's-
like that,
right.
right? So it's just different. So like now they're going to do basically some of them just take your stuff, put it on Film Hub, and then they take a cut.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Like you have a contract that
Bypass them.
is so front loaded to them.
Yeah.
That it's impossible, and I think people are so excited that they don't understand how long 5 or 10 years actually is.
Yeah.
When it,
Yeah,
you
your movie's dead.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
get stars in your eyes. You
exactly.
think, 10 years, just think I'll be making money in 10 years.
Right.
No.
5 years, your movie's pretty much dead,
Yeah.
unless you have a cult classic or something.
No, right. There's that 1 million God shot, right? It could happen, but I don't know. We'll see what it is. But
Golden Elevator.
stay tuned to our podcast so you can hear our journey. Anything else you want to get off your chest tonight?
Dude,
Everybody's
I
yours.
don't know. I'm cool.
All right.
We talked for a while. That's all
I
good.
appreciate you being honest with everything. That's
Yeah.
the coolest thing. Is
Did I
being
say
honest.
anything bad? If I said anything bad, cut it out.
All right, well, I guess we're getting ready to wrap up here. Anything,
We've covered a lot tonight,
Anything
Greg.
you want to leave us with? Any wisdom?
Don't shoot at the ocean. It's really hard.
We'll leave it at that.
All right, well, because, we're going to talk about what we always talk about.
What's that, Chris?
The highs, the lows, and the in-betweens of true independent filmmaking on the Any Film Sucks podcast, brought to you by 88mm Productions.
Thanks again.
Go to all the places.
Check out Trevor.
Hit all the things. Check out Trevor Edward Juenger's work. All right, well, we'll see y'all next time.
All right, thanks, Trevor. Peace.
Indie film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.